And we're back. Thank you, sponsor. Okay. So one of the things that might be a piece of this whole puzzle, it has to do with something the medical community has dubbed the Yentl syndrome, a phrase that originates from a 2003 study published in the Journal of Law, Medicine, and Ethics called The Girl Who Cried Pain, a bias against women in the treatment of pain. The authors of the study concluded that women are, quote, more likely to be treated less aggressively in their initial encounters with the healthcare system until they prove that they are as sick as male patients. It's sometimes called the gender pain gap.
So basically, we are not listening to women when it comes to us complaining about feeling pain. An article about the experience of women in the ER in The Atlantic featured this stat. The wait time for an analgesic for acute abdominal pain is an average wait of 49 minutes for men and 65 minutes for women. That means that a woman is in pain for longer, basically just hurting and complaining, and it takes them longer to take her seriously and give her treatment for what she is experiencing, which is pain.
Yeah. The woman in the story, Rachel, she went to the emergency room for extreme pain in her abdomen, and it was written by her husband, and the way he described it, it sounded brutal. When they showed her, like, how much pain are you in from 1 to 10, she said 11. And he said this was very out of character for her. So they get to the ER, and were essentially patted on the head and told, we've got a lot of patients, wait your turn. The male doctor on call was so certain she was suffering from kidney stones that he never came back to make sure that that was correct. It took a whole shift change for him when he was replaced by a female doctor, when she looked at the results and realized it wasn't kidney stones at all, but ovarian torsion, which is excruciatingly painful. And she had been, I think it was 13 hours of just intense pain, and to be dismissed over and over. And the author of the article pointed out that if she had been a single woman and hadn't had, because he was there advocating for her.
Right.
He was there like, there is something wrong. He was going up to, when the new doctor came in on the shift change, he went up to her. If he hadn't been there, who knows how long she would have waited.
God, that makes me so angry.
Me too. This whole thing makes me very angry. Another article from the Huffington Post, specifically about pain during sex, chronicled a woman named Mary who experienced such painful cramping during sex, she'd cry in the shower afterwards.
Yeah, if you are crying in the shower post-sex and that's a normal thing for you, like, something's up. That's not a medical professional who hears that should send alarm bells up for them.
Yes, absolutely. But it didn't. Doctor after doctor told her essentially, drink wine, relax. Maybe the sex you're having is too rough, or maybe it's all in your head. I bet so many of us have heard that.
Because, of course, women are hysterical. And if I say, I'm in pain, here are my physical symptoms, X, Y, Z, it's all in your head, little lady.
Yeah. Just calm down. The founder of Stanford's female sexual medicine program at the Stanford Hospital says she was taught to tell women reporting sexual pain to go home and drink wine. And I'm all for wine, Bridget, but that's not going to fix any problems.
I mean, wine isn't a medical elixir. I love
as
wine.
As much as I'd like to think so.
I mean, it's for me as a functional alcoholic. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's like we should not be prescribing wine for people. As someone who's always advocating around mental health, if you are a medical professional and you want someone to relax, you should not be saying go home and drink wine. Like, that's not useful advice.
No. And especially for people who might be struggling with alcohol.
Yeah, because what if you don't, like, what if you don't drink? Or then what? Oh, we'll give you Xanax? Like, what, like...
Right.
Why are we not treating the actual problems? Why are we pushing wine on women who are complaining about legitimate medical issues? It's infuriating. I'm infuriated.
I know. Oh, it gets worse. But Mary, the woman we were just talking about, with the help of a friend, eventually correctly diagnosed herself. And I know so many people in the medical field that hate that, but she diagnosed herself with endometriosis and got treatment. She'd also, because it'd gone so long untreated, she developed vaginismus as well.
Wow.
And after 8 months of pelvic floor therapy, the pain she experienced during sex is now, for the most part, gone. But that was like 10 years of pain.
Yeah, I had a similar-ish experience. This is such a strange story, but I diagnosed myself with ovarian cysts from watching the show Real Housewives of Atlanta.
That is
I know that sounds wild, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a character on the show, Cynthia Bailey, and we're in Atlanta now, so shout out to Atlanta. She goes through, basically for most of my adult life, I had intense, like my periods were always really intense. Like my periods last for, 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
And they're often like very, very, very bad. And then I always thought this was normal. I didn't know that this was not normal. And I was watching Real Housewives, and Cynthia Bailey describes her symptoms, and she goes through the treatment of her getting diagnosed and treated in surgery for ovarian cysts. And I thought, gee, that sounds like me.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that she said was that tabloids or whatever often suggested that she was pregnant because she had a little bit of a bump. And I'm a very thin person, but I have a little bit of a tummy, and that I saw a picture of myself in a clingy dress, and I thought, yeah, I do sort of look like there's something going on. And I went to the doctor, and that's exactly what it was. So if I had not, because we don't live in a world that, where the symptoms of this, and by the way, for Black women, ovarian cysts are so common. And I never even heard of it. And it was this stupid reality show that was the thing that made me even have it on my radar. And I know that doctors don't like it when you come in and you're like, I know what the problem is. But if we don't live in a world where our pain is treated like it's a serious issue, and that we're not given the resources to figure out what's up with us, we have to take things into our own hands. And I'm glad that she did it, and I'm glad that she was able to get some help and